What is up, everybody? I'm George Mossey. Please say hello to my co-host Heather C. So, Extreme Sisters season 2, episode 8 is aired. Welcome to the George Mossey Show. First things first, V and Ashley did not join us on this episode. We're gonna have to until next week to see what's going on with their surrogacy situation and their $28,000 dilemma. But we did catch Anna and Lucy, who are fresh off of their dentist appointment, removing one infected tooth and one perfectly healthy tooth. And now we found out that they have run the course with their job at Casablanca's. So they have decided that after 3 weeks, they don't want to continue working there because they're becoming two individual people. And they feel like in order for them to be the same and in order for them to stay the same, they have to end their employment there. And I think that this is a bad idea. Like, I feel like even Ben and Deanna, their mom, felt like they were making progress and they were doing really well as their boss, Deb. Like, I feel like they were accepting the idea of doing different things and being individuals. And I think that there's nothing wrong with that. Like, I know that they've dedicated their life to being this and they don't really want to change that, but it's really getting in the way of a lot because even Ben said he was like over the 10 years that they've been together, he's seen them give up so many things that they wanted because it just didn't fit into being the same lifestyle and being the same person. So I feel like they didn't give it enough try. I feel like if they want to open a restaurant as a business and they own, I feel like they needed to do a little more experience in that field. I mean, unless they're just going to put the money up and have somebody run it for them. That's not what they want to do. They want to actually cook their lasagna, serve the customers, and be a part of it. And I feel like in order to run a restaurant, you have to know what you're doing. If you go apply for a restaurant manager job and you have absolutely no restaurant experience, they will not give you that job. So I feel experience was important and they were getting that. And I feel like they just prematurely gave up on their goal.
Yeah, I kind of feel that way too. I mean, you almost have to question like how they were brought up, like who instilled in them that because they were twins, they had to be the same person. Like it it almost makes you wonder, like, is this something that was like shown to them at a young age from somebody, like, you guys look alike, so you need to do everything alike, or is this something that they picked up along the way? um because it seems like even their mom and their boyfriend are looking at them like there's no reason why they can't exist as being two different people. I don't understand. I mean, I know like there's a lot of things that goes on with people like that have, a lot of things wrong with them, like anxiety, depression, OCD, like things have to be like done a specific way or their mind like won't just let them rest. So maybe they have something like that where they don't feel like they're really complete, like they said, unless everything is identical.
Mhm.
But the world doesn't end if one carries a cup and one carries a tray. And I think that's all people were just trying to tell them, like, hey, you can have a job, you can be successful at life and still be twins at the end of the day just because you didn't carry the same thing in. I mean, you can't, they're the same blood, they look the same. So even if one were blue and one were pink, it doesn't matter, they're still going to be twins at the end of the day. So I think they need to have somebody try to help them and guide them to let them know it's okay. You can function in this world by doing two separate things. It doesn't make you any less of a person or a twin just by doing something different.
I think that they need to understand that there's nothing wrong with it. And like you said, we don't know what's going on in their minds. Like maybe when they are different, like their mind is racing and there's uncontrollable emotion we don't see because on the outside we don't see it. They look fine, but at the same
Right.
time we don't know what's going on. So like you said, there could be something more deeper going on where there's no inner peace. And we can't see that, that's just how they feel. So maybe that's kind of the situation they're in and there's no way out for them. So they made their lasagna and they gifted it to Deb, their boss, in hopes that she would serve it to the customers and maybe add it to the menu, which I thought that was really nice. But Deb was really caught off guard because she was like, change good, and I thought you were doing really well. And I want to iterate that Deb gave them an opportunity and a chance when no one else would. We watched them apply at so many different places, and every single place was like,
Yep.
that's not gonna work for us. So I feel like they're leaving Deb hanging because she went out on the limb, she gave them a job, and she let them be themselves. And now they're leaving, and I kind of feel like she got the short end of the stick in this situation.
I do too. I think that, I think that Anna and Lucy can kind of see that she was kind of upset with them. Because it did look like towards the end they were kind of like, wait a second, what is wrong with us? Like, why can't we have this job? So maybe they'll reconsider. Maybe they'll, start to look into things deeper and take a second chance at it, because like you said, not everybody was willing to give them a chance, and Deb did, and they seemed like they really liked Casablanca. So it's like, why mess up a good experience over something that could be manageable?
All right, so I'll talk about Randy and Jordan because we found out that Jordan works at a plastic surgery office. And not only does she love working there as their social media manager, but she has a best friend who works there and she also gets perks like free work and discounts on work. We watched her and Randy get butt injections, which kind of looked painful to me, but against needles. Like, I would rather needles not go into bodies. So I don't know. It probably isn't that painful, but it kind of looked like the recovery process was painful because they said it was kind of hard to sit down. And the doctor prescribed them to do butt massages 5 minutes 5 times a day. And ironically, they decided to do those on each other and not have Derek and Daniel do that, which is kind of interesting because I was like, Derek and Daniel might have actually enjoyed that, doing that for them, but they did it themselves just to make it a little more weird for all of us. Because I was like, I feel like the guys would have been okay with that, because the butt injections are kind of for them too, so I feel like they might have been okay with helping them do those massages and the moisturizing, but they decided not to. So in this episode, we find out that Jordan wants to accompany Randy on her honeymoon. Now, the backstory is Jordan didn't get a honeymoon because when she got married, they were in the process of buying the house that they live in now. So they had to compromise. So there was no honeymoon because, buying a house is a huge chunk of money down. So they didn't really have any extra money to spend. So they got their beautiful wedding and their beautiful home. Jordan got no honeymoon. So in my mind, I can justify the idea that she wants to have one because why not? You're supposed to have one. But
Mhm.
I think that she should have this honeymoon with Daniel, right? Like, not with Randy and Derek. Like, she's not even inviting Daniel. Because I was like, what if they make it like a double trip? And then everybody goes, both sisters, both brothers, and they have specific days where you don't see each other. You just stay with your husband, and your wife. And then there's specific days where they can do things together. And I feel like that will be like a happy medium for each sister. Like, the sisters can spend that time together. Because in my mind, like they said, it's going to be a girls' trip that Derek is allowed to be on, but probably will be ignored. And that's not fair because that's his honeymoon, right?
Yeah, but they never said that Daniel was invited. They just said that Jordan was invited. So it would be one of those like third wheel type
Yeah.
sister trips that, like you said, the guy's just on for the heck of it. But um I don't know. Like, I think that they're so close, and they were pretty upfront from the beginning. I mean, it helps that they're marrying twins, so they kind of get it. They just don't seem like as close as the girls are. But they never, tried to pass themselves off as anything other than what they already do. Like, we knew they were close. We knew they liked to bond. We knew they liked to sleep in the same bed together. So I think, like, taking care of each other's like butt injections and stuff like that. I don't know, like, we as America might perceive it as, oh, like, is that what your guy is for? But like, to them, it's just like second nature. Like, it's my sister. It's like me doing it to myself type of thing. They don't think of it as weird because that's just what they do. I think that it's really cool though that she works in a plastic surgery office and that she can get like cool discounts and like, you know, hookups on all that cool vanity stuff because, you know, she ever wanted to get something done, she's already there. But
Exactly.
this one was more so to help, she said, to fill out the cottage cheese per se, so that way it doesn't show through on their dress, which it does make a big difference because if you're wearing a thin color or a light thin dress or light colors, it does show through. So I understand your big day, you don't want to be self-conscious. It makes sense. And it's nice that she's a ride or die and she did it along with her sister. At least they weren't like pulling teeth or anything like that. You know, they were just doing a little like injections. So
Yeah, injections aren't even permanent. Like they don't
yeah,
last forever. So yeah, doing this together as sisters, that's not extreme as pulling out healthy teeth. You know, that we're not in that extreme part of it, but it was interesting to me how Randy is actually on board with Jordan coming on the honeymoon because the first thing I thought when Jordan told her best friend at work, I was like, Randy is going to be terrified and freaked out and be terrified to tell her that she doesn't want her to go. No, Randy was like, this is an amazing idea. She's like, we just have to figure out a way to get Derek on board. And Jordan was like, well, I know where you're going. Planes go wherever you pay them to go. She's like, I could just show up. Derek is not really important to the situation. Like, if I really wanted to go, what is he going to do? Say no, I can purchase my own ticket. I can get my own hotel room. She's 100% right. I mean, Derek can't tell her where she can and can't go. He's not the president of Jordan. And you know, like she can do whatever she wants. But I do hope that if she does go, she gives them space. You know, there should be certain days where only Randy and Derek spend together. And then if there are days where Jordan and Randy are together, don't make Derek feel like the third wheel and leave him out and make him feel lonely on his honeymoon. That's not fair at all.
exactly. I think that it should be between them to enjoy themselves. I mean, if it's only a couple day trip, I think that they can survive without each other for that short amount of time. It might actually make them appreciate missing each other.
Yeah.
So it just like maybe let them have their honeymoon and then replan another trip and go together as the couples. And that could be like a do-over honeymoon. And that way all four of them can hang out together and it would be a little bit more appropriate.
Very much more appropriate. All right, guys, we're out of time. We're going to come back and talk about Jessica and Christina because they might be pregnant together. And spoiler alert, they are. And we're going to talk about the Capasso triplets who are back, and it's really, really bad. So we're going to talk about that too. I'm George Mossey. Make sure you follow me on all social media platforms at George Mossey, georgemossey.com, and anywhere you get your podcast. And please follow my co host, Heather C, as well. Her links are right here at the bottom. We'll talk to all of you guys really soon.